back to the Neurodive Corner. My name is Shayla, and I am your host, and this is your corner for all things neurodivergent. So, how is everybody doing today? I hope everybody had a lovely day. I know if you live in the South, you're probably like me cursing this bipolar fucking weather because it's getting kind of ridiculous. Um, Literally yesterday, it was super hot, humid. We had thunderstorms, we had tornado watch, tornado warning, and today it decided to go back to winter. So, yeah, I am so sorry. I'm always bitching about the weather south. I guess I'm still um trying to like being in yeah and you know getting used to being living in the tri-state area for so long, you get used to your winters and your seasons. And I'm a person that doesn't like ocean. I'm a person that as you guys have noticed, is not that much into the whole cosmetic aspect of things. Even in my videos, like most of this stuff is just off my brain, off the cuff type of content. And I know a lot of people are not super fans of that, but listen, neurodivergent myself, and this is how I function. As always, I want to thank our subscribers. We have new subscribers this week, so to everybody that joined, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This little community has become my way of venting, my way of teaching, my way of connecting, and honestly, my way of even keeping my sanity. So, thank you so much, everybody, for your support, for joining the lives, for commenting. I love that. I love when you guys engage because I don't like just lecturing. It gets boring, honestly. It does get really, really boring. So thank you to all of you, all of my subscribers and your friends and everybody that joins the live videos and the shorts. It is truly a blessing to have each and every one of you. While I'm talking about that, make sure that you guys do all the cool stuff. Make sure you hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you know when new videos are dropping, and make a comment so that way more people can find us and our community can actually start sharing resources. That's the goal that I have. I want our community to start talking to each other and sharing resources. So please, please, please do all the cool stuff. Also, in the description, you're gonna see the GoFundMe campaign to help my nephew, who is um who is autistic. He is 8 years old. He's a lovely boy. So, today we're gonna talk about autism in honor of that. But in the um oh Lord, in the I'm sweaty. I don't know why I'm feeling sweaty. I'm sorry. That's kind of gross. Oversharing today. So anyhow, so he is autistic. He's 8, and in honor to all the struggles that we have had and whatnot, we're gonna talk about autism today. We're gonna talk about what it is, what it isn't, what superpowers they have, and all of that cool stuff. Right? But first, I want to again say hello to the fans. Say hello to everybody that is watching the video. If let me know where you're watching from. I love to know that. And like I said, sound off in the chat. Let me know if you know somebody with autism or if you identify as a person with autism or an autistic person. Do you prefer person-centered language or do you prefer other approaches? again, join us in the comment. We have Melissa Carlisle, 2987. Melissa, you are our number top fan tonight. Hello, how are you doing? And where are you watching us from? And that's okay if you don't want to share. Um, I'm just curious because we've been having a lot of people outside of the country joining the channel. Like we have people from um like the UK, we have people from India, we have people from Canada. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. It makes me feel um happy that at least part of the message is getting out there into the ether and people can do with it as they see fit, right? So again, let's get into it. Autism. So, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurological developmental disorder. Neurological, obviously, because it happens and it affects the brain. Developmental, because again, it affects the development of the brain and some global functions that a neurotypical person would experience, right? Um, uh, so today we can better understand the incredible diversity within the autism community. I always say that they remind me of the deaf and hard of hearing, where they're not a monolith, but they have almost created their own subculture at this point. And no two autistic persons are the same. Although there are certain things, certain aspects of the disorder that might be shared, n- they're very much individuals, and the support, their diagnosis, all that can greatly from one patient to the next. It's insane. I just flicked the int. That is a very creative handle. Oh, my dear sweet baby. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he loves everybody very much. If you want to hear my take on that type of stuff, go check out the video section on the channel and the shorts. They are where I put pretty much all of my commentary, satire, comedy, political commentary. So make sure you go check that out. Let's get back into the autism spectrum disorder piece of it. So, like I was saying, the it affects global functioning in many areas. Again, we said communication, socialization, cognitive being some of the main ones. So these differences usually appear early in life because we have gotten so much better at diagnosing. We can now confidently start noticing some of the um, some of the behaviors in the bracket of the 0 to 3 year old population, believe it or not. And there's plenty of studies out there trying to see if it could be diagnosed through genetic testing. There is a genetic component to the disorder. I don't want to get too much in the weeds about that, um, but the the deficits in functioning start early on in life, usually at the 18-month-old mark, which is why that study, that now debunked study that was trying to link it to immunizations was so correct, and we know that today as a fact of medicine. This person ran a study, and I think it was only 200 patients. There wasn't any other cross-referencing, no other parallel studies or nothing like that. But the problem is, if you're a parent, the onset, and I'm going to use the word onset carefully, but usually the onset is at the 18-month-old mark, is when the parents start noticing deficits in some of the global functioning of their children. So obviously, 18-month-old, it kind of falls in that period of time where children are usually getting the MMR vaccine. So it was a nasty coincidence that has stuck with us till this day, you know, March 18th, year of your Lord 2026. And as much as we continue to try to debunk it, some people just, as part of their grieving process, in the diagnosis, just want to hang to anything that can give them an answer or a cure. Um, Here is something very important. Autism is not a single experience. It is not a single illness. It is not just a very specific cluster of syndrome, well, symptoms even. Okay? It is a spectrum, meaning that characteristics are going to be all over the place. Let's break it down. So, the types of presentations, right? In the past, we used to divide them, and you had autism, you had Asperger's, and you had PDD non-specified. Today, as we understand, it's a spectrum. We know that it's just one thing, and the DSM now encapsulates all of that under the autism spectrum. They is understood as one spectrum with many expressions. People have differences in social communication styles, sensory processing, re- um, some repetitive behaviors, but the way those differences show up are very, very different from one patient to the next, as you might imagine. Very much like all human beings, right? So, how is autism diagnosed nowadays? So, it's mostly diagnosed, uh, obviously, through behavioral science. There is no one test, and I think that's what makes it so frustrating for the parents when you get the diagnosis, is that there is no one test that can completely rule it in, rule it out, and give you what caused it. And that I can even begin to imagine how might that make parents feel. So they are judged in the levels that we spoke before with, you know, now in the DSM-5, the TR version, autism is described in three levels based on the level of support that a person might need. With level one meaning that they require some support. So that could be anywhere from a standing desk for them to work because they don't like the sensation of being sitting down, to needing closed captioning to better participate um, from a meeting. Um, Level two, which means they require substantial support. So these are individuals that obviously are going to need different interventions, more therapy in order to go about their daily life, where the level ones are what we used to call way, way back in the day high functioning. Um, Level ones, again, can have uh, close to neurotypical lives, if there is such a thing. Um, they can be extremely successful individuals. Just look at the soccer player, Messi. You know, he's amazing. Um, and there's people that think that Nikola Tesla might have had autism. A lot of people think that whatchamacallit, like Demosthenes, the philosopher, had autism. So it's been around. We've just gotten better into diagnosing and labeling it and providing supports to the patients that fall on the spectrum. And then there's level three, which means requiring very substantial support. So this is where my nephew falls in. My nephew is 8 years old, but my nephew needs significant help to go about his daily life. From help with his activities of daily living, like hygiene, getting dressed, um, to understanding what is safe, what's not safe, and it's been very difficult for his parents. They they have a support system, but it's a small one. And again, the piece that's more important, they can't even put in place because his insurance just won't cover what he actually needs in order to thrive. And that is such a sin, but that's a different video for the other side of the channel. Um, the levels are not meant to be a judgment, and I hope nobody's taking them that way. Autism, right, is much more common than many people realize. We know now that in the United States, I believe the last statistics were 1 in every 31 adult children, sorry. Yeah, 1 in every 31 children will fall in the ASD spectrum, and 1 in every 45 adults in the United States fall in the ASD spectrum. Globally, it's a little bit more difficult to pinpoint because of different levels of advancement in diagnosis and such. But the main statistic is 1 in every 100 people are autistic. As you may imagine, these numbers vary greatly because, one thing I think I've made clear throughout the whole video is that they are a very diverse and varied um, community, right? Um, they are a very vibrant part of any community. And, it's a blessing, honestly, I'm blessed to have them in my life. Um, Now, let's talk about some of the challenges, right, that come with being ASD. Thank you for the like, whoever put the like. Appreciate you. And thank you for everybody that's sticking around. It means the world to me, honestly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do all the good things. Make sure you share and invite some people over. So let's talk about some of the challenges that come with ASD. So some individuals have difficulty reading social cues, understanding unspoken communication. Others may engage in repetitive movements like hand flapping or prefer predictable routines to feel safe and regulated. There can be sensory sensitivities. Um, they can be, people in the spectrum can have a very hard time with different textures, light, sound, and it could be that they need to be overwhelmed or underwhelmed. Um, their global function in that area. So, for example, somebody that is in the and doesn't like bright lights might have that area of their brain overdeveloped. So bright lights become overstimulating for them. On the other hand, if you have somebody that needs very bright lights, then it plays out that way as well. They might be underwhelmed, and or overwhelmed. It depends. Like we said, they are not a monolith. Oh yeah, thank you for keeping it respectful in the chat, everybody. We have moderators as well. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what questions you have. Um, so they have sensory sensitivities, like common sounds, texture, lights, or certain environments. In some cases, autism can occur with other intellectual disabilities, and it could be that dual diagnosis as well. Like it can come with other mental health disorders, like generalized anxiety disorder or attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. So that's not unusual either. So most autism is not defined by the challenges alone. Many autistic people have deep focus interests that help them learn very fastly. That is one of their superpowers. If there are people that can look at something and find a different logic to it, it's the ASD community. I promise you. Um, Authors have an incredibly eye for detail. They have strong memory skills. They really do. Or unique ways of solving problems. Communication might look different. Some of them actually pick self mutism, auto mutism. Some of them find speaking overstimulating, so they just don't like speaking, and that is okay. That's why we have sign language, and that's why we have the PEC system and other technologies and devices. But that is one thing. Communication looks extremely different from one autistic person to the other. Some people like more literal, honest, blunt communication because ASD, one of the global functioning deficits is being able to interpret social cues and pick up on nuance and pick up on sarcasm. Usually they have a hard time with that because they pay attention to detail. The most important thing to remember is that autism is not a sickness. They are not sick. My nephew is not sick. This community is not sick. They don't need a cure. They don't need you to fix them. They just need you to love and let them be, just like you would do with anybody else. Just think about it in this way. It's a different way of functioning, thinking, sensing, and understanding the world. Autism spectrum is a random experience, abilities, and perspectives, all of which are amazing in their own right. Um, every person in the spectrum deserves respect, dignity, inclusion, understanding, empathy. And if you can't do any of those, at least shut your trap and do no harm. That's the very least you can do. Is if you are not a professional, if you have not experienced it and can't even be empathetic or understanding about it, please do no harm. Keep it to yourself. So I did not want this video to be this long, but to those who stuck to the end, thank you so much. Thank you for spending this time learning with me. If you found this helpful, please share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Keep championing support and acceptance for the autistic community. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye bye.